is willpower attached to weight loss? And I think pretty much all of you were correct. I think it has to do with feeling like we've all been there, right? If you've made it to the point of being on a GLP-1 because you've tried losing weight before and it wasn't successful, then you have without a doubt gone through the cycle of trying to restrict the way that we're taught, right? Cutting your calories, restricting foods out of your diet, exercising more. It works for a little bit and then it stops working and then you start eating again because your metabolic rate has dropped even though we didn't know that at the time. So now your body's forcing you to eat more or crave more or get hungry more, and willpower, right? So you get through that whole cycle where you're successful with the conventional way of weight loss, eat less, move more at first, calorie cutting, you're successful at first, and then ultimately you start to eat more and regain the weight and you really don't know why. And the flaw in that, as seen by, popular opinion, would be you just don't have enough willpower to keep the weight loss going. If you gain weight in the first place, it's because you don't have enough willpower to not put the food in your mouth. If you're trying to lose weight, you don't have enough willpower to stop putting the food in your mouth. Is that fair? Is that the overall theme of willpower and weight loss? I spelled your name correctly, Michelle, but spell check changed it. I know that can be very frustrating. Like, no, she's gonna think I'm dumb and didn't spell it right. And Lacey says willpower required to stick with meal prepping, going to the gym, making smart choices at restaurants. I failed all three today. Maybe you didn't, and or I'll say you were tricked. You were tricked. Did you see the title? It's a trap. I'm gonna explain how. It is a trap. So before you stamp failure on yourself, hear me out and we'll see if I can bring any of y'all over to the dark side, which is my side. We'll see. We'll see. Because I think that we are putting more stock into willpower than we should, and I'm going to explain why. All right. And I failed all this week. It's your first time here. Shout out to you and thank you for falling out of the clouds. If you want to let us know if you're on a weight loss journey, are you using a GLP-1? If so, which one? If not, what method are you using for weight loss if you're trying to lose weight? Turs does reduce your appetite clearly. Okay. Um okay, so now that we understand what the association is between willpower and weight loss, I have another question for y'all. Is it correct? So now that we know that willpower is associated with weight loss because apparently you just don't have the strength, or people just don't have the strength to get the job done and maintain the results. Is that accurate? Is the problem with people being unsuccessful with weight loss, is the problem that their willpower is just not strong enough? No, it's not correct. Okay. Anybody else? Let me get my props out. Let me get my props out. I got me a Kit Kat today. Did we all need GLP-1s because we just didn't have enough willpower? Do you still have to exert willpower once you are on a GLP? No. First question first. I know what to do. First question first. First question first. Did we need a GLP-1? Because y'all said it. TERS helps with the willpower. Y'all said it. TERS helps with the willpower. So, did we need Tirzepatide, a GLP-1, because we didn't have the willpower? Jen is 50-50. Jen, stop riding the fence. I'm going to need you to explain what you mean. I don't know what you mean by 50-50. Hold on. I have to sneeze. I'm glad it actually came out because typically when I go off camera, my sneeze goes away. Repeat the question. Okay. Y'all said Tirzepatide helps with the willpower, right? It helps with the willpower. So did we need Tirzepatide in the first place because we didn't have enough willpower? Okay, Jen says she did. Okay. Anybody else? Anybody else? Did we need Tirzepatide because we did not have enough willpower? Or you can answer for yourself if you want. Y'all can answer for yourselves. But I am speaking in general. For some of us, it's not strong enough to overrule our biological urges, cravings, etc. Ooh, okay. Mm-hmm. Yes, those cravings are insane. Okay. Nicole lacked willpower. Jen lacked willpower. Okay. All right. And Tirzepatide helped get that willpower under control. Willpower is not strong enough against food noise. So yes, I needed Tirs. Okay. Nurse Michelle needed help with willpower. Absolutely not correct. I know from personal experience. Okay, so did you have willpower and was unsuccessful for other reasons? Sunshine. Okay, so here's the follow-up question. And if you're still typing to answer the first one, go ahead and send your message. But here is the follow-up question. Do you still have to exert or utilize willpower since being on a GLP-1? Still got to use your willpower, or is it completely obliterated? Like there's no scenario where you need to use your willpower as far as like your weight loss goes or maintenance. Y'all, my dad knocked my coffee over, so I didn't even get a full coffee. I'm disappointed. I was sad. It's not like he gonna go get me another one because the dang Starbucks is 8-10 miles away. I lost my first 75 pounds by myself, but needed Turs to help get that food noise under control to get to the finish line. I didn't have the discipline. Michelle, can I emphasize the Mish? It's so pretty. Hold that thought. We're gonna get to discipline. We are going to get to discipline. Yes, for day 6 and 7. Interesting. Anybody else still need their willpower on their GLP-1? Like to shame if you haven't already, and please drop down out of the clouds and leave us a comment. I promise I'll only bite on Tuesdays. I worked with nutritionist, lab done, worked with a trainer through everything, added, learned I have PCOS and my BMR was naturally significantly lower than the average person. Okay. So willpower wouldn't have mattered for you. You were metabolically at a disadvantage. Okay. Physiologically, metabolically at a disadvantage. Yes, sometimes to fight emotional eating or close to shot day. With TERS, I don't need as much willpower, but still need it for consistent weight loss. The medication is helping me change certain habits. Okay. Even on day 6 and 7, I indulge. Yeah, it's bad for me on day 6. That's why I started taking my injection on day 6. I was just like, nope. My problem with hypothyroidism and my antidepressants give me the munchies. Eating was my issue. I had postmenopausal health problems and weight gain. That is what Zepbound helped remedy. My eating hasn't really changed much, if at all. Okay. Thank y'all for answering. So here's my take. Here is my take on willpower. So actually, let me see if I can find this thing that I was reading earlier today. I should have saved it, but y'all know I bees in the trap, bees in the trap. I don't be prepared. I'd be so busy. I don't be prepared. Maybe this one will work. Let me see. Maybe. Let me see. We'll go with this one. We'll if I need it. We'll see. All right. So here's the thing, right? Willpower is like a dirty word from my perspective. I think willpower gets treated like a dirty word in the, dare I say, weight loss community. I don't know if there's a such thing as a weight loss community necessarily because people use so many different weight loss methods. So there are like sectors of weight loss. So you have your fasting over here, your keto here, your GLP-1s here, your bariatrics here, your this, your lipo here, your this, right? Or your diet and exercise here, right? And willpower is often, honestly, I'll put it to you like this. Willpower, the word willpower and the idea of willpower is actually weaponized by the mainstream. So by that I mean the field of medicine. I'm talking about media. I am also talking about mainstream fitness as well. But also when it comes to influencing, willpower is weaponized. Okay, like the lady in the TikTok. You're just lazy. Just do it. Like, what's the problem? Just do it, right? Now, some of us like being that toxic. But for argument's sake, let's talk about it from the angle of willpower. So we are told, people, I don't know what people are told in other countries, but I know here in America, we are told that it's not that hard in order to lose weight. Eat less, move more, which in the past, I would say 6 months, I have conceded to some of that, right? I've conceded to some of that. And if you can't do it, you just don't have enough willpower to do it. Is that a fair assessment of what the generalized understanding is? And I have felt that way for quite some time because I've been trying to lose weight damn near my whole life, like at least since the age of 10. So my typical strategy would have been to restrict, remove, reduce, blah, all the all R's. I'm gonna start calling it all the R's. My typical strategy would have been to do all of the R's and end up flopping at the end. And you start to feel like you just aren't strong enough to do it, right? The problem is that ain't what willpower is for. Mm-mm. We've been lied to. Or you can say misled if you want to be gentle about it. We have definitely, I'm gonna say lied. Mm, do I want to? Because lie implies intent. And do I think the people that say this realize that they're saying something that is untrue? Because y'all have agreed that willpower plays a role. I'm saying, well, a significant role. I'm saying it shouldn't. And we've been taught that it's supposed to. But I'm going to make the argument that we have been taught wrong. Okay, now I haven't heard, I'm pretty sure other people have talked about this, but I don't really have like any sources on hand as far as like a video or something of somebody talking about this. So my stance is when it comes to willpower, that is a complete misdirection as far as what is required and what a person goes through as far as making the changes in their life to be successful for weight loss. I think that willpower is not completely, but in the grand scheme, virtually useless. Okay, not completely. I'll say where I think it applies. Virtually useless, and I gave a hint to this yesterday. I think that willpower is overstated, right? The emphasis on willpower in order to get things done, I think it's overstated. And I think it's very misleading, right? Just based on the definition that we read. Just based on the definition that we read. But let's go a little more into willpower versus discipline. And we're gonna address willpower first. So this is not the I don't want to say article, but this is not the reading that I had earlier, but let's see what they have to say about willpower, right? Actually, let me go back to the definition first. Definition. Definition. Control exerted to do something or restrain impulses. Okay, so first I'm going to argue that that is an incomplete definition. Actually, let me give Google a chance and see if there's more to it. Let me go down. No, they don't say anything more. Okay. Control exerted to do something or restrain impulses. Maybe it's not. The context may be a bit incomplete, right? The definition is correct, but the context might be missing if you just go with the word and just go with the definition. But the key to that is impulses. The key to that is impulses. What are you supposed to do about an impulse, right? How are you supposed to respond to an impulse? The answer would likely be it depends on the impulse, right? Some you're going to ignore, some you're going to fight against, some you're going to give into, some you're going to use some other sort of strategy alongside. But when it comes to control, right? Having control exerted in regard to certain impulses, if that is a significant role when it comes to weight loss, then we would be saying that this is all about being out of control. This is all about being impulsive. So, do y'all think that weight gain is about being impulsive. And once you can get those impulses under control, you're fine, i.e., willpower. Is that what we're saying? That the weight gain is about being impulsive? So we're all not all, but we're impulsive. Those of us that had issues with eating, because people gain weight for other reasons. But those of us that had issues with eating, is it just a lack of control over impulses? Therefore, willpower plays a significant role because you're supposed to have the will to control yourself against those impulses. Is that what we're saying? Just say no, step away from the plate. Just walk, just stop eating, put down the fork. What do y'all think? And if you need me to try to reframe the question, let me know. What are you indulging in, Jen? Metabolic hormone issues are stronger than our willpower. Okay. Thursday night, I went out, had 3 slices of pizza and a bowl of ice cream. Everyone was clocking me. Jen, sounds like you're still struggling with that willpower over there. I'm saying, right? The point that I'm going to get to overall is saying that I don't think it's that serious. The emphasis that we put on willpower, right? I ate this because I didn't have the willpower to say no. So the example that I gave yesterday was the differences between willpower and discipline being utilized. And I didn't define discipline yet. Willpower is more effective for short-term experiences or interactions or short-term control, right? So because it's in the definition with the word impulses. Impulses are very brief, they're very short term. They may be frequent for some people, but they're very short term, right? An impulse is not something that lasts over a period of time. That would be more like a feeling or a reaction or something like that. But an impulse is very quick. It's very brief. So we would be saying we are falling victim to an abundance of very quick impulsive eating decisions. Can you repeat the question? So, if willpower plays a role in weight loss, and willpower is defined as control over impulses or exerting control when it comes to impulses, are we therefore saying that the issue when it comes to being unsuccessful with weight loss, are we saying that the issue is impulsive eating? We are being impulsive, therefore we need the willpower to exert the control over those impulses. Sometimes our eating is impulsive. Okay. Sometimes, meaning would you say 50% of the time? Give me a general a ballpark. Would you say 25% of the time? It's going to vary person to person. 80% of the time eating is impulsive. The reason that I'm asking is because if willpower is a response to an impulse, right? To not give in to that impulse, and we're saying that's a significant role when it comes to weight loss, then we would be saying that we are constantly dealing with short-term impulses that is getting in the way of our weight loss. I have willpower and discipline with Turge now, something I didn't always have with Sema because of the food noise. Okay. My impulsive eating is normally during PMS. But before GLP-1, was the impulse eating the significance when it came to struggling with losing weight? Was it a constant fight to I guess, reject or restrict or whatever, whatever the method was. So here's what I'm thinking. When it comes to willpower, actually, let me show you a little bit of what this website says. Let me show you a little bit of this. Let me show you. I mean, y'all not gonna be able to read it necessarily, but I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna try to zoom in and then read it. Okay. So let's see. It says willpower is a rather sudden and momentary burst of focused energy, while self-discipline is structured, well thought out, and consistent. Willpower in the moment is more tangible and seemingly more powerful. The reality is that the power of self-discipline dwarfs that of willpower. So what I'm getting at is, if the objective is to deal with some sort of disorder eating or overeating, and the objective is to lose weight, how is the effective strategy to constantly deal with short-term impulses? Or it's like, how is short-term impulses the actual issue? How is a lack of willpower the actual issue? Because when you exert it, it still ain't getting you where you need to be. So for me personally, I find it hard to believe that 70% of the population just ain't trying hard enough or just ain't exerting enough willpower. Therefore, GLP-1, I'm not even going to deny that GLP-1 would help with willpower and discipline, right? But for those that don't get on a GLP-1 or don't get bariatric surgery, I find it hard to believe that the main issue, the most significant issue, or even maybe not the most, but a significant issue is willpower. Now, the reason that I believe that is, if willpower is supposed to be exerted in short instances, that means that eventually you will fatigue yourself of that willpower. You will burn out by constantly hitting the willpower button. It's kind of like always stimulating adrenaline, because you're always in a constant state of stress, or cortisol. It's like constantly stimulating stress hormones because you're in a never-ending state of stress. Exerting willpower is something that's supposed to be, utilized for an impulsive decision. Utilizing that 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times a day, 7 days a week, in order to achieve the goal of weight loss, that's never supposed to be successful to begin with. That's not even the proper application. There was never a time, right? This is where I say we were tricked, trapped, or lied to. Technically, by the definition of willpower and the application of willpower, constantly responding to impulses, if impulses is the issue, with decision making in the moment, 10 times a day, 7 days a week for the rest of your life, that's not supposed to work. That's not how that works. That's not the work. That's not how that works. Why you always gotta make me think so, Harvey? I don't know what I do. Ultimately, society believes we are to blame um at our fault for being overweight. Well, hold on, sunshine. There's some blame to be placed. We're gonna get into that with discipline. I'm gonna start blaming, victim shaming. We gave into a series of impulses and didn't control our impulses via our willpower, and didn't exert consistent discipline. Essentially. So we gain weight. It's our fault. I think that the magic of TERS, we don't have to hit the willpower button as often, because we're not truly tempted as often. Well, let's take Tirzepatide out of it. I did ask, like, this is not about Zepbound or GLP-1s, but I did ask, do y'all feel the need to still exert willpower on Tirzepatide? Because it was mentioned that Tirzepatide helped with the willpower. So I was trying to figure out how much. But Tirzepatide aside, let's talk about we're looking at this from the lens not of right now with us having the help. We're looking at why we failed in the first place. And then we can get to the now. We're going to address the now later. But right now I'm focusing on what happened before we even started on GLP-1s. Why did we struggle with being successful? And the overall theme is, well, we were lacking in willpower, hence getting on a GLP-1. And what I'm saying is we were never supposed to have the willpower to begin with, because that's not the effective strategy. That was um I would like to say a lie, but I really think it was more so a misdirect. I think it was a misdirect. I think that willpower was used so flippantly when it came to weight loss. Just do this, just do that. You start to believe that it comes down to the decisions that you make in the moment, every moment, day after day. You got to make the right decision. And the second you stop making the right decision, it's like a snowball effect into making the wrong decisions over and over and over again. But what I'm saying is that that framework is set up to fail, because you can actually fatigue your willpower. We all have it, unless you're like a crazy person, like a psychopath or something like that. Um, but we all have willpower. We all have it. But we are overemphasized, or we have overemphasized how we're actually supposed to apply it. But that's not our fault. That's what we were taught. That's them people's fault. But whatever. They, whatever. That's the establishment's fault, right? Like I said, the medical field, health field, and the government, because they want to talk about what they want to get in the business of what people eat and all of that. So if you're constantly taught from the time that you're a child that the problem with your weight is that you don't have the will, it's only natural to internalize that. So when it's time to start to try to lose the weight, the first thing we go for is just say no. But how long is that actually supposed to work? Because if you ended up at a GLP-1 and eating was the issue, not like some other um metabolic or physiologic issues. If eating was the issue and you ended up at a GLP-1 and you feel like you needed the GLP-1 because you did not have the willpower, I'm saying the willpower was never supposed to work in the first place. It was, well, not in the long term. It was never supposed to work, right? Beyond the moment, beyond a very specific short moment. We were fatigued, and some are going through that now, going through the weight loss phase. Are you talking about without a GLP-1? For that second part, we were fatigued. I agree. And some are going through that now. Are you talking about without a GLP-1? Because if so, I would agree. Not physical fatigue. Yes, physical fatigue as well, but I mean like psychological fatigue, emotional fatigue. At some point, you're gonna give in, right? So somebody said it earlier, maybe it was Nicole. Our willpower is no match for our hormones and something else. Nicole, remind me. Exactly. Exactly. That's exactly right. So, if our willpower is no match for our hormones and cravings and desires and all of that, why was willpower ever the strategy without a GLP-1? Okay, I got you. Okay. Because we know this, but I don't think we realize like the cognitive dissonance. If we know if we know that our willpower is no match for our hormones, your hormones are going to reign supreme. That's why we love GLP-1s, because they address the hormones. Your hormones are going to reign supreme at the end of the day, unless you physically remove an organ that's attached to that hormone, right? If we know that our hormones are going to reign supreme, how is willpower ever supposed to work in the first place? And my answer is it's not. It never was supposed to work. And that's where the trap and the misleading and, if I want to be extra, being lied to comes in. Does that make sense? So, okay, I got you. Mental fatigue. Okay. Metabolic issues and hormones. Right. Right. A little louder for those in the back. I'm going to say it one more time. If we know, if we know willpower, just say no, just put down the fork, just walk away from the table, just do this, just do that in the moment. If we know that that is no match for our hormones, how is that a strategy? Why would you bring, you know, why would you bring like a, I don't know, like a butter knife to a gunfight? Why would you bring a butter knife to a gunfight? And I'm not saying this isn't like why did you make the wrong decision, like you personally. I mean, like, as a society, like, why would we be taught to bring a butter knife to a gunfight and say, just keep on going with the butter knife? Actually, you know what? I take that back. Let's give a different analogy, right? Let's say uh let's say the objective, right? The framework is weight loss. But for the sake of the analogy, let's say the trick to getting the weight off, right? You got a butter knife and you got an electric saw, and you have to cut through something in order to get to the goal. Why are we taught to choose the butter knife and just keep at it? Just keep at it. So whether you like the gunfight analogy or the second one, you got a butter knife and you're being told, just keep going. You'll be fine. Just hold the butter knife up against the bullets. You'll be all right. Whereas your hormones and your physiology would be the gun. That would be the gun. But the mainstream says, pick up that butter knife and go to work. And then you get fatigued because you can't do shit with that butter knife except spread a little butter on your toast in the morning. That's all you can do. But you're supposed to make that butter knife do 50 other things 10 times a day, 7 days a week. Does that make sense? The butter knife is for the moment that you need it to put the butter on the toast, right? That's whatever. That's the short-term moment you need it for. And then you put it away. And then the next time you need it for something, you go get it. And then when you're done with it, you put it away. But we all know that weight loss takes time. We all know that building habits take time. Where does this even fall into that? As a strategy, where does this even fall into that? So when it comes to where we started, from, as far as, did I miss it? No, I didn't. When it comes to where we started from, and I'd like to share if you haven't already, regarding the definition of willpower, I don't see, right? I don't see how that's supposed to be effective. And I'll take it a step further to get to the GLP ones, but that's not necessarily what it's about. When we say are the GLP ones fixed or helped with the willpower, I think that is true for some people and not others. I think it's true for some people and not others, but we'll talk about that in a second. Before we move on to discipline, y'all got a little quiet. Did I lose y'all there? Did I lose you? Y'all got a little quiet. So before we move on to discipline, I want to talk about uh what a lot of fit influencers, correct, is where I'm coming from. Our willpower never stood a chance. Correct. Never. There was no chance. I don't think it was a purposeful setup. I don't think it was on purpose to mislead people or give people the wrong information. Matter of fact, because we're gonna transition into discipline. Before I even continue, because I was gonna ask, where did this even come from? Like, where did this attachment of willpower to weight loss, where did that even come from? I don't know. But I will say it's not based in science. It is not based in any type of research or evidence or anything like that, that willpower is the key, right? So let's just go ahead and throw that out the window. But where I think it came from on a application level or a teaching level is weight bias. And is there another word for it? Victim blame, not victim blaming, but like, you know, blaming the person. That's a way to cover your eyes and your ears to the physiology and the biology. You cover your eyes and your ears to the hormones and whatever else is going on in the human body. This is the fault of the person. Now, I ain't no victim. I'm not saying this as from the from the standpoint of the victim, but we come from a very uh you know pull yourself up by the bootstraps country, okay, if y'all have heard that terminology before. So the establishment tends to have that mindset around a lot of issues that people may be struggling with, right? Which is ironic because there are other issues that get coddled. Like, well, that's completely unrelated. But weight loss is weight gain, obesity, overweight, one of the things that does not get coddled, right? You get judged for it. Now, I'm not saying that because I feel bad about that. I'm saying that because the people that were supposed to be able to figure this out were so busy saying just do better that now we're 50, 60 years into an obesity epidemic. And I don't care what nobody says. If it wasn't for a few outlier doctors that came out and started, talking about some of these things online, if it wasn't for people doing the research on their own, we started to turn this around for ourselves before a lot of us started to turn this around for ourselves before we ever got on the GLP-1. The GLP-1 just propelled us further. Or some of us was just like the last straw. Like we not even attempting no more. Like even if we were successful in the past, we ain't about to do that again. So let's just go this route. And it is a very successful route. It is a very successful route. So I think the idea of you just got to have the willpower. This is my issue with Monique. She don't know no better. This is what she was taught. That's why she repeated it. This is what we were all taught. She don't know no better. They're taking away your willpower. They're taking away your willpower. No, willpower was never actually the answer. Willpower was never the solution. Willpower was never the appropriate strategy. Like it just wasn't. But that is not to say that people don't have some sort of responsibility or shouldn't take some sort of accountability and take action when it comes to their obesity or overweight, GLP-1 or not. That does not absolve people of some level of responsibility because that has happened as well. Like we've been beat over the head with willpower so much that now you have people like Fat Acceptance that refuse to take any accountability because subconsciously, not even subconsciously, we will say it like willpower doesn't work, willpower doesn't work, but then we will still blame a lack of willpower. We will still we still hold on to it knowing it don't work because it wasn't supposed to. No, it don't work, but we still feel flawed about not being able to implement it successfully. So then you have people on the end of the spectrum that are so delusional that they're like, we know that don't work, so I'm just supposed to be big and I don't got to do nothing about it. I would love to know the answer, Pat. I really would. I would love to know the answer. So now, influencers, and when I say influencers, I mean anywhere from Jillian Michaels down to your influencer on TikTok, or like when we were watching Jubilee and they had the fit versus fat. Fit people, right? Physically fit people. We don't know what's going on with them internally, metabolically, physiologically, mentally, emotionally. We don't know what's going on with them. But physically on the outside, fit people, when they speak about weight loss. Sorry, I gotta sneeze again. Hold on. Okay. uh oh, my coffee got watery. So this is where we're gonna transition into discipline. So because we do hear about self-discipline with weight loss, but it doesn't get as much credit or weight or priority as willpower. And I'm wondering why. And maybe you guys can help me figure out why. Because I think this is a grave mistake that we have made for decades, even into being on a J1, especially if you potentially have an ED. But I think this can apply to anyone, right? So back to the fit people. Fit people will say things like, uh, and even on Skinny Talk, they will say things like, you want to be fit, you want to lose the weight because when you have a fit body, it is a reflection of discipline. People will look at you and treat you like you have the discipline to keep your body in shape. Do you all agree with that? I'm going to go ahead and do it in a poll. Like the stream if you haven't already. I'm going to set up a new poll. Is a fit body A reflection of discipline. Oops. Don't need another option. Okay. Go ahead and like the stream and vote in the poll if you haven't already. Is a fit body a reflection of discipline? What do y'all think? When y'all see a fit person, okay, maybe y'all may not see this, but you can let me know. Like when y'all see a fit person, does it exude that that person is disciplined? Or for the people that say that, right? Even if y'all don't feel that way, do y'all think they are on to something? That's like saying, the rich auntie. I'm a rich auntie too sometimes when I'm not broke. That's like saying instead of taking a flight for 1 to 2 hours, let's walk or ride horses to our destination and spend weeks and days doing so. Not, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Auntie Momo is struggling and white knuckling it every day, and that food noise is on her neck. Discipline is all the effort and changes that we've made. Who said we don't have to use willpower on GLP-1? That shot alone doesn't do everything. You have to eat well and work out. I think that I think that different people feel differently about that. Like you'll see it throughout the chat. But the thing that I'm trying to emphasize is willpower shouldn't necessarily be attached to eating well and working out in the way that we think. It's not completely useless, but it's virtually useless. Virtually, like almost, right? But not completely. I'll tell you where I think it fits. But like getting up 3 days a week, no matter how you feel, to go to the gym and get that workout in because you want a particular result, I don't think that has anything to do with willpower. I think that that is a habit that's built over time, which is a result of discipline. We're going to get into discipline right now. Like we're going to slide into it. Same thing with eating well. Okay, so back to the question. When fit people say that a fit body or weight loss or a thin body or whatever is a reflection of discipline, do y'all believe them? Like, do they have more discipline because they are fit? Because you know what they don't say? Who wants to take a guess? You know what they don't say? Hi, Chi Town. No genetics is key. My best friend had a six pack at 12. His dad was a weightlifter and his mom ran track in college. Okay. So, you know what they don't say? They don't say a fit body is a reflection of willpower. Why don't they say that? I think I think people look at obese people and think we don't have discipline, but I don't think people always look at fit people and think they have it. Okay. Why don't they say a fit body is a reflection of willpower? Why don't they say that? If willpower is so important for weight loss and or fitness or eating or whatever. They never say this is a reflection of my willpower. But if they are looking at someone else that is overweight or obese, they will say you just have to have the willpower. That is called cognitive dissonance. Are y'all following me? When you kind of say two things that contradict each other, but you don't really see the contradiction, like you will say one thing applies to you, but when you're trying to give the solution to somebody else, you don't see the you know the explanation that you just have for yourself. It's something completely different because it's them and not me. I assume from the outside a fit person is disciplined, but that doesn't make it true. I agree, but they think that they have expressed. I've seen this time and time again. I've seen it on Skinny Talk. I've seen it on debates. I've seen it all over the place. I've seen fit people say, you know, when I look at someone else that's fit, or maybe they're talking to each other, right? Like maybe they're talking to other fit people when they say this. When I see someone else is fit, or when someone else sees me, or when I see myself, it's a reflection of discipline. So what I'm trying to say is fit people think that aesthetically, when they present, like the way that they look aesthetically, presents discipline. That's what they think. Do y'all think that? I'm going to say probably not, but y'all can let me know. Do y'all think that? Like, is it a reflection of discipline? If you go beyond aesthetically, right? Actually being fit, right? Like, let's say if a person, let's say you never see them, if a person manages to be fit, or even yourself manages to be fit, right? Physically, aesthetically, you know, you are eating what you're supposed to be eating, you're supplementing where you're supposed to supplement, you're getting your labs done, you're going to the gym. Do you feel like then that is a reflection of discipline? Regardless of how it looks on the outside, do you feel like that is a reflection of discipline? On the flip side, you can be born with the obese gene. I grew up with friends that were chubby in the first grade and have been chubby all their life. I'm not really sure what the obese gene is. I'm not sure it exists. Uh, so Chi-Town, you would have to tell me a bit more. Projecting. You'd have to tell me a bit more because, as far as I know, the obese gene is more of a theory, not necessarily an actuality. Like, can your genetics lead to a particular outcome? Absolutely, right? So if you have two obese parents, you are genetically predisposed to that obesity. Doesn't guarantee you'll be obese, but you are predisposed. But is there a particular gene we can identify that is linked to obesity directly? Like, so if you have this gene, you're gonna be obese. I don't think so. I don't think we have that. But if I'm wrong, y'all let me know. So what about yourselves? If you are fit or if you feel fit, is that a reflection of this? Does that mean you are a disciplined person? Is fitness a reflection of discipline? I guess. I framed it as a fit body, so that kind of tightens it to aesthetics. But the idea is fitness a reflection of discipline, right? So go ahead and like the stream and vote in the poll. So let's define discipline. Now that we know that willpower more so applies to the short term, particularly control over impulses that are supposed to come and go. Okay. So, one more thing about willpower, when you feel really good about it and then it slips, that's natural. It's supposed, like, we perceive it as a slip, but it's just going away because it ain't supposed to stick around forever. Willpower is not a constant, is what I'm trying to say. It is supposed to be temporary, it is supposed to be brief, it is supposed to be in the moment. As quick as it takes, as long as it takes to address that impulse, that's about as long as that willpower is supposed to last for that moment. Okay. So, let's get into the definition of discipline. Okay. So now let's share. Share. Okay. There's no gene. I mean, you could see that they were born dealing with excess weight. You could see that they were born dealing with excess weight. Let me go back to your previous comment. I grew up with friends that were chubby in the first grade and have been chubby or all their life. Okay. So you're just saying that it's apparent that they've dealt with weight issues all their life. Yes, because it takes discipline to get and stay fit. Getting fit is hard. Staying fit is harder. Don't work out and the results are gone. You have to be disciplined. Okay. Let's get into the definition of discipline. Yeah, no, I love AI. Discipline is the self-control. Hold on. Let's do that. Discipline is the self-control and training required to complete difficult or unenjoyable tasks to achieve long-term goals, often contrasting with temporary motivation. It involves establishing order, developing habits, and managing behavior through consistency, ultimately leading to freedom, success, and personal mastery. What do we think of that definition? Now, I have a question. How many of you were thinking about this when you were thinking about willpower? How many of you were thinking about this when you were thinking about willpower? What I just read. Discipline is the control, and training required to complete difficult or unenjoyable tasks to achieve long-term goals. How many of you were thinking about this? Or were you completely and fully aware that, like, no, discipline is something different. Willpower is what it is and we need it. Let me know. Types of discipline. Primarily, it is broken down into self-discipline, internal control slash willpower. Willpower will play a role in that. And behavioral institutional discipline, rules, regulations, and consequences enforced by individuals. Synonyms: self-restraint, control. It says willpower is a synonym for discipline, but I'm going to disagree because this is AI. AI is letting me down, but I'm going to disagree with willpower being a synonym. But self-restraint, I would say. Control is debatable. Control would align more with willpower. Um, but yes, let's go with. I don't even know. I don't even know if restraint is necessarily. Yeah, we'll go with self restraint. Benefits: build habits, increases success, fosters freedom, enhances mental control. Okay. All right. So that other source that I had, let's see what they say about discipline as far as willpower versus discipline. Signs more on the line with willpower. So willpower and discipline, I would say, could potentially be two sides of the same coin, right? But that doesn't make them the same thing. So the example that I gave yesterday was, I don't even know if I repeated it yet, but the if I said this already earlier, I'm tripping, but I'm gonna say it again. The example that I gave yesterday was, I could have a Kit Kat in the fridge, right? Willpower is me wanting it in the moment and telling myself no, right? Right, fighting with that no until hopefully I fall asleep or something. Discipline would be building the habit that doesn't have the Kit Kat in the house in the first place, or discipline would be, well, you should have had the discipline. I mean, I'm sorry, discipline would be you should have had the Kit Kat before bedtime, right? Like, so discipline would be, it's past 8 o'clock or 10 o'clock or whatever time, you go to bed, you can have the Kit Kat tomorrow. Cause that's the habit that we've built up. But willpower would be saying no in the moment and then potentially having to fight with that no. Does that make sense? Exactly, not the same thing, but work in tandem. Yes, we can consider them two sides of the same coin, but they are not the same thing. And the reason why, some people could say tomato, tomato, but the reason why it matters is because we've spent so many decades being hounded with willpower, so much so that even today, it has been expressed that willpower was the issue. And based on what we just talked about, it clearly wasn't. Now, discipline, on the other hand, okay, discipline has more of a chance against those metabolic issues and hormones. But hormones, if you don't get that corrected, they might win at the end of the day. They might just win at the end of the day. But discipline has more of a chance, right? Because discipline has to do with building habits over the long haul. So let's say hypothetically, if you know which if you know, because most people are not going to know, if you know what your hormonal issues are that are leading to excessive eating, discipline would allow you to take the time, right? If you're trying to develop the discipline, it would allow you to take the time to put the necessary tools together or the barriers in place that are needed to work around the issues that you have with eating, or to adapt to the issues that you have with eating, or even reverse or heal the issues that you have with eating. Discipline is more equipped to handle that, whereas willpower is only for the moment. Like, you can't will your way out of a hormone. You can't will your way, or you can only will your way out of not wanting cookies when your hormones are out of control, right? You can only will your way out of not wanting cookies for so long before you actually give in. But if the approach is discipline, there are already decisions that have been made so that you don't have to make the decision in the moment. Or if you do have to make the decision in the moment, willpower, it's not as hard, right? So discipline could uplift your willpower, or I would say discipline could uplift your willpower versus willpower uplifting your discipline, right? Discipline can set you up to be in a better position when you need to use your willpower. Whereas willpower is just going to fatigue before you even think about being disciplined in the first place, if that makes sense. Discipline is like what people in the military have. They are disciplined and taught to get up early in the morning, every morning, and make their bed, work out, shine their shoes, and their guns. Damn, I didn't know if I was supposed to say that on YouTube, but I already said guns, so it's fine. Etc., etc. Okay. In a routine that goes on every day. Correct. We need both willpower and discipline. We have to be able to resist things in the moment, but also build and adhere to healthy habits. The question isn't whether or not we need both. The question is not whether or not we need both, but I do agree that we need both. The issue that I'm pointing out is the emphasis on the willpower. There's too much emphasis on willpower. There has been too much emphasis on willpower, so much so that when we are talking about weight loss, willpower is one of the main things that comes up, even though we know it doesn't work. We even know why it doesn't work. Yet we don't take it that step further to say, okay, well, maybe it's not supposed to work. That's what I'm saying. It's not supposed to work. You have willpower, you have discipline, they go together, they work together. No problem with utilizing both, but it's situational. And if weight loss is a long-term commitment, right? If weight loss is a long-term commitment and you got to eat, right? You can't just live off of willpower every day. If you have to eat, right? You got to eat. Some people are going to gain weight and struggle with how to lose it. The answer to that cannot be just hitting the willpower every day, dealing with impulses every day on a regular basis. That is not the answer. It was never the answer, yet it was told to us that's the answer, so much so that we still emphasize it and honestly believe that. But yes, we need both. Willpower manages the impulse, correct. I think discipline is physical. Like in the military, willpower is more mental, like not eating a whole pack of chips. No. Yes and no, right? No. Yes and no. Okay. So what if, Chi-Town, I'm not going to eat the whole bag of chips, not because I'm fighting an impulse in a moment, but what if I've just disciplined myself to not have the whole bag of chips, right? Like it wasn't an option in the first place, right? So willpower for the bag of chips scenario would be, I really want to eat this the rest of this bag of chips. I know I shouldn't. So I promise I'm going to stop halfway through. And then you put the bag away and you're fighting to not go back for the rest. That's willpower, right? You can consider that successful or not, but that will be willpower. You had the impulse. You really wanted to finish that whole bag, but you're like, no, that's the decision in the moment. No, we're not going to do that. That's willpower, right? Or the other option is you have discipline. Whereas you could choose to build a habit, a person could choose to build a habit where you don't eat out of the whole bag in the first place, right? So that would be like putting the portion of chips that you're going to eat into a separate bowl or something, or buying smaller bags, or saying that I am going to finish the whole bag because I haven't had a bag of chips in 2 weeks. I'm going to allow myself to eat a whole bag of chips twice a month, right? And I'm perfectly fine with that. That falls into my discipline. But I'm not going to eat, I'm going to choose to eat this bag of chips. Another way to look at it, I'm going to choose to eat this bag of chips, right? The whole bag if I want it. But I am not going to follow that up with an entire bag of chips the next day and the next day and the next day and the next day. So no matter which scenario it was, you still exerted the discipline. You made a choice, like you already decided what was going to happen before you had to decide in a moment, is what I'm expressing. Agree, the short-term weight loss success without being able to maintain it, discipline will help to maintain it. I think that discipline is supposed to help to lose it in the first place. And we don't consider that. I think we're so focused on willpower and the impulses because of our cravings, which are very real. The cravings, the hormonal issues, those are very real. We're so focused on willpower and we're so focused on the moment that we are being extremely short-sighted. extremely short-sighted. And when I say we, I mean the population. Like the whole country is overweight. It's only about 30% of people. I think I said 50% in my video yesterday. I was incorrect. It's about 20 to 30% of the country that's normal weight. I think it's 70% overweight, 40 something percent obese. So, and I think 45% obese, and I think 40 of that 45 is like obesity level 3, like class 3, morbidly obese. So what I'm suggesting is that willpower, the importance of willpower needs to be somewhat uh diminished. Not that it's irrelevant and that we don't need it and that it won't apply ever, but the focus needs to shift because not everybody's going to end up on a GLP-1. And I'm more so speaking from a hindsight perspective, and then we'll go into how this applies to me moving forward or how it can apply to people moving forward, even though we are on GLP-1s. Isn't that the whole reason GLP-1s exist, to increase the willpower times 10? I don't think so. Did Eli Lilly say that? Did they say that? I don't. That's interesting, Chi-Town. That's interesting because I think that was the sentiment of some other people in the chat too. Well, yeah, willpower is important, and I didn't have enough of it. I struggled, so being on the GLP-1 helps with that. But framing it this way, I'm gonna say no. That ain't the point. And the reason why one would feel that way is because it is assumed that willpower is the issue to begin with. If you start from the position, right? If your starting position is, I don't have the willpower. When you find the answer in a GLP-1, the first thing that's going to come to mind is, oh my God, thank you. I now have the willpower. I'm going to say that's not yes, but no. Like, yeah, okay, sure, you may be able to deal with short-term impulses better, but that's not the most significant role of a GLP-1. Not even by far. Like, to me, honestly, I'm going to go out on a limb and the willpower people going to get me. I'm going to say willpower is the least important benefit. Like, improving your willpower is the least important benefit of being on a GLP-1. Sure, if you want to say it's a benefit, great. I'm not even going to push back. I will say, not only is it not, that's not the point of a GLP-1 to increase willpower times 10, that is the most insignificant point of being on a GLP-1. And the reason that I'm arguing that is because I'm saying willpower wasn't the issue to begin with. Willpower was never going to work to begin with. So increasing your willpower, that doesn't, that to me personally, like, that's almost irrelevant. Not completely, right? It's fine if your willpower is increased, but there's other things going on as far as a GLP-1 is concerned, is what I would say. I agree with you. Willpower is not for finishing the whole bag. Discipline is not buying the whole bag, period. I would agree. Yeah, so I like the chip analogy because I feel like there's a different way that can play out with discipline. You could not buy the whole bag, or you could commit to having that one bag and not have 7 more. Like some of us. Like, wait till I get into my examples of how I came to this idea in the first place and started looking into it, because I'm like, I cannot be this bad with these cookies on this GLP-1. Like, these cookies cannot have this much of a hold on me. Something is not right. Okay. So we're going to talk about my cookie meltdown. Chi-Town, I'm not sure if everyone is benefiting from the GLP-1 helping their willpower. How many people have you heard saying they can eat through their shot? I've heard that. I've experienced that. Discipline is not bringing that stuff or allowing it into your house in the first place. Yes, I would agree. I would agree that there are some people that can have these things around and not indulge on a regular basis. I wish I was one of those people. Like, for example, I've had this Kit Kat, right? I started eating it yesterday. It's a king size. I started eating this yesterday. I ate 1 serving of it, and then I brought it on here as a prop. And I've only eaten 1 bar so far. Am I exerting willpower? Not really, because I'm not fighting with myself about the Kit Kat. I'm not fighting with myself. So where the GLP-1 shines is the dampening of the interest. It ain't the willpower that's going up. It's the interest that's going down. It is that reward, seeking that reward, that's going down. It's dampening that desire for the reward from the food. That's going down. It ain't the willpower going up. So with this Kit Kat, I don't have to exert willpower because I'm not me and this Kit Kat don't got beef. Like I'm not like, oh my God, I really want to eat this Kit Kat, but I gotta sit here and talk and I don't want to put it in my mouth. And maybe I should just go off camera and eat it. And oh, I can't wait to get off the stream so I can have this Kit Kat. Like, no. Willpower was last night when it was 12 o'clock at night and I had already had my one serving at around 9 and it was time to go to bed. And I'm like, damn, I want that Kit Kat. And it's like, go to sleep. That was my willpower. So now where discipline comes in is because I have this Kit Kat, I am not gonna follow this Kit Kat up with a pack of Oreos. I'm not gonna do that. I am not gonna go back to the store tomorrow when this is done, because they probably be finished tomorrow. When this is done, I'm not gonna go back to the store and buy another one because I've decided in advance that that's just not what I'm doing. Right? I'm not even gonna set myself up like that. Like this, the decision's already been made. I wanted the Kit Kat, so I'm gonna have the Kit Kat. Right? I'm gonna have the Kit Kat at appropriate times. I'm not gonna fight about it. I've already decided that I want it, but I'm not about to go out and buy a pack of cookies to eat when I'm not eating a Kit Kat, and then go out and buy the Kit Kat tomorrow and the next day and the next day and the next day. So that's where my discipline plays out. All right, we have more examples. We're gonna talk about it. Okay. All right. Hi Paul, how you doing? Since our body chemistry are different from one person to another, a person sees the benefit as a huge win, then they continue their journey when they see their labs improve. Okay. Um, oh, your last message was incomplete. Okay. And gibberish. I'm using voice to text in the car and I was trying to delete it, but the large fingers didn't do it. It's fine. It's fine. I got the gist of what you were saying. Okay. Shout out to the voice to text and shout out to me listening in the car. Y'all give me anxiety when y'all tell me y'all listening to me in the car because like I be afraid, like, okay, because y'all know I cuss a lot, right? But then y'all will say y'all playing like y'all listening to me in the car or on a TV, and I'm like, oh my God, there's gonna be kids listening. I'm like, oh my God, I'm such a potty mouth. Chi-Town says this conversation is too deep. Okay, this conversation is too deep. Let's all meet at Starbucks and discuss this over 2 caramel lattes and a slice of lemon loaf, my treat. Chi-Town, we're gonna take a whole sidebar on this. I'm gonna have a whole conversation with your Chi-Town because I already got my latte. Do you have yours? Are you slacking and slipping, Chi-Town? You're slacking, ain't you? Because you don't even have your latte. All right. We can't meet at the Starbucks right now, but that don't mean the Starbucks can't come to us. So I got mine. Where's yours? Now about that lemon loaf, Chi-Town. Listen. Chi-Town, listen. This is important, right? This is why I gotta have a whole like sermon about this, okay? Because it falls right in line with the topic. Now the lemon loaf, Chi-Town. The lemon loaf. I would love a lemon loaf, okay? The caramel latte and the lemon loaf are my combo, right? That is my, or if I don't get a lemon loaf, the coffee cake, right? So there have been many times I have had to exert my willpower in the moment when I'm pulling up at Starbucks to get my coffee to not get a pastry with it, the lemon loaf or the coffee cake, even though I want it so bad in that moment. So I'm triggered in the moment, the impulse, right? Even if I don't really have a taste for it, my impulse in the moment is to get the two together because that's what I'm used to doing, right? So there have been plenty of times where I've had to fight that impulse and just say, no, you don't even want it for real. Like there were times I really wanted it, but since being on GLP-1, I say most of the time, I don't really want it. I just want it. Because that was my combo. That was my combo. So yeah, I have, now do I have to exert willpower? Still sometimes. Like I would say the discipline part comes into like, I have to be honest with myself that I don't have to get cake every time I get coffee. Like the discipline is the coffee is sweet enough. Let me just have the coffee. I don't need the cake in the coffee, right? That's where my discipline kicks in. But do I have to exert some willpower at the Starbucks window and not get that lemon loaf? I sure do. Okay. I have the discipline and not the willpower. There's no junk food in my house. Oh my gosh. You speak in V's language. See, Jen knows. You see what I mean? Like Jen gets it. Okay. Caramel and lemon. Oh my God, yum. Listen, I was at Starbucks today. Like some days are better than others. Some days it's like, I won't say I don't think about it, but it's not as bad. It's not like really a fight. But there are times where like that it's like a visceral impulse to get that lemon loaf. That crack loaf, it is a visceral like get it. And I'm just like, no, 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 mm-mm, mm-mm. But imagine having to deal with that day after day after day after day, which I don't, because part of the discipline is only going to Starbucks once a week, right? That's a part of it. Now, people have been buying me coffee, so what? It's not my fault. So I've been going a couple more times. But my discipline is set up to only go once a week. So I only gotta exert that willpower in the moment once a week. Once a week. Um we have to be disciplined with everything in life. I don't know. Sometimes I like to get into shenanigans and be irresponsible. Hmm. Sometimes, Shonda. All right. So where I was going was this other thingamajigger over here. Like the stream if you haven't already. Please like or dislike, even the cloud watchers. I see you, okay? Don't hate from outside the club. Okay. So um I actually don't like this one. Let me see something. Uh I don't actually like this one. Ooh, I can't see because my light is in the way. Hold on. Okay. Let me see if I can find another like article about it. Mm. Oh, you know what? Let's see. Maybe if I add weight loss to it. No, it's not giving me what I'm looking for. It's not giving me what I'm looking for. Okay. I was because the article that maybe it's still on my phone. The article that I read on my phone gave a really good breakdown and compared and contrast willpower and discipline. Uh let me see. Okay. Never mind. Yeah, I don't know where it went. All right. So back to discipline. So discipline is a long-term strategy, okay? Yes, discipline and willpower may be two sides of the same coin, but I do think the implementation is different and there is a significant importance that has been overlooked by society, right? There is a significant difference in discipline versus willpower that has been overlooked. And willpower has been lockstep intertwined with weight loss. So much so that there's really not much of a rejection to it. There is more so of a like a self-blame with it, if you will. So for some of us that are on GLP-1s, we feel like the GLP-1s helped or fixed our willpower or increased it. I'm arguing maybe that's not what happened. I'm arguing that the desire is what actually decreased, or the reward is actually what decreased. So the opportunities to exert that willpower, or the the necessity to exert that willpower, the number of times you would have to do that has been decreased by the GLP and the GIP, you know, agonists. That's what I'm saying. Now, what happened to me, okay? What made me think about this was what made me look this up in the first place, because I had to Google, like it was like late at night and I was thinking about something. I had to Google like what is the difference between, it was like a eureka moment. Like I had to Google what is the difference between willpower and discipline, right? So what happened was I've been struggling with days 5 through 7 since being on the 7.5 milligram. Now I've been struggling with sugar cravings in general. I've been struggling yeah, with sugar cravings. There's not much that I actually crave beyond sugar. Like I don't really deal with issues with hunger and cravings and all of that beyond sugar. So I had an instance in the past week, even though I still lost 6 pounds. I'm just like, whoa, that is bonkers. I had an instance in the past week where I went back to buying cookies, right? Because I had the issue with the cookies for like 2 weeks, right? Where I was overeating them. And I'm like, okay, I have to have the will and the power. I have the power. I got to have the will to not buy them, right? When you see them in the store, just say no. Okay. Well, it didn't work, right? I was craving cookies. So I didn't go seeking them out necessarily. I was at picking up some food from a restaurant that was near a store that I needed to go to anyway. And when I went in the store, typically, if there's something that I really am trying to avoid, then I will avoid, honestly, other than the supermarket, I will avoid places where I'm going to find that thing, right? So let's say donuts, cakes, and cookies. I don't go into gas stations unless I have to pay for gas. Like if I can't pay for it at the pump and I have to go in, then yes. Or if I have to, like, if I'm on the road and I got to stop at a Sheetz or a Wawa to use the bathroom, then sure. They have very clean bathrooms. Sidebar, McDonald's for some reason like has extremely clean bathrooms. Like if your McDonald's near you does not have clean bathrooms, I don't know what's going on, because the ones that are near the highways, like the interstates, they have the Wawa, Sheets, Love, or is it Loves, and McDonald's. They have the cleanest bathroom. So anyway, um I don't go into gas stations because I'm prone to picking up snacks. So I'll grab a Rice Krispie treat, I'll grab donuts, I'll grab, a slice of cake, I'll grab candy. I'll grab cookies. So I just avoid it altogether. But if I'm in a grocery store, it's because the serving sizes are bigger, right? They're family packs and shareable packs. I'm less likely to buy it until there's a sale, and I got this thing with sales, and it's I start making excuses. It's crazy, okay? So I went in the store, and instead of getting what I was supposed to get and leaving, I started hunting. I was on a hunt for some cookies. I actually went in there to get some chips because I don't, I can have chips on occasion. It's fine. I don't really overindulge. But I was in there and I went on a hunt for some cookies. And I found some cookies, right? I found some cookies, but I convinced myself it's okay. You can just have two. You can just have three. You can just have two. You can just have three. And that ain't what happened. All right. I tore them cookies up for 2 days, right? I couldn't put them down. Even when I didn't want them anymore, I couldn't put them down, even on a GLP-1. And I was thinking to myself, this can't be right. Like this cannot be my experience on a GLP-1, right? So it felt like the willpower was flopping in the moment, right? Because I'm saying no, I'm saying no, I'm saying no, and then I finally give in at some point during the day, and now I'm eating like six, seven, eight cookies, right? So, I just had a thousand calories, 800,000 calories in cookies. So I'm thinking, I'm like, this can't be it. Like, there's no way this is gonna be my life moving forward when I have the help of a GLP-1. Like, there's no way that I have to be on a 10 milligram or higher in order for this to not be a thing. Why am I doing this? Like, why am I making this choice? Why am I feeling this way? So part of the answer is hormonal, right? So we know that sugar increases cravings. Sugar is like a death spiral where the more you have it, the more you want it, the more you have it, the more you want it, the more you have it, the more you want it, and then you're just in this never-ending loop until you break the cycle. So it made me think about how this is supposed to work in the long term. And I was also thinking about what life was like before a GLP-1, and what it was like gaining weight, in the first place, or yo-yo dieting, gaining and losing and gaining and losing, and the decisions that were being made throughout my life that had to do with my weight and my eating. So I was trying to find the point of accountability, right? I think that when you lose weight, it opens your mind to uh more, do I want to say self-criticism? I feel like when we're at our, like, when we have the weight, right, and we haven't lost it, really none of it is our fault. It's how we feel. Like this is not our fault. This is not our fault. This is not our fault. We keep being told it's our fault. It's not our fault. It's not willpower. It's not this. It's not that. Right. But then when you start to lose the weight, you start to be able to critique a bit more. And someone said earlier something about like people aren't obese because they're lazy or something like that, right? So I was trying to find the point of accountability, right? I'm choosing to eat these cookies, right? There's a craving attached that's outside of my control. I'm giving in to the craving, so the willpower is failing. If I continue down this path, then what? Like what then what? Right? If willpower is the answer and it fatigues and it breaks in the moment and then I got to start all over, clearly that's not a successful strategy. Somehow I managed to get to the point with thinking long term, like, okay, so how's this supposed to work? I don't know why discipline popped up to my head. It probably was like because of hearing this on Skinny Talk, like hearing the more superficial stance, right, that we talked about earlier. Oh, if you're fit, it projects discipline. If you do this, it projects discipline. If you do this, it's because you're disciplined, and I do that because I'm disciplined. And I'm just like, do I like discipline? This is what happens when you up late thinking about cookies and shit, right? So I'm just like, do I like discipline? Is that why I keep buying cookies when I know what's gonna happen? Is that why I like will make excuses when it's time to go to the gym instead of just going? Is that why I will do certain things that I know are going to lead to an outcome that I am not looking for versus doing the things consistently to get the outcome that I want? Do I like discipline? So on one hand, I'm thinking about the willpower, about the cookies in the moment, but then, overall, I'm just wondering like where I've been, where I'm at now, where I'm going. Do I like discipline? So before I continue, I'm gonna ask y'all, when you were at your highest weight before getting on a GLP-1, did your weight gain have to do with a lack of discipline? Do you think? Because y'all already agreed it had to do with willpower, a lack of willpower. Okay. And we know willpower is very short term about addressing impulses. So when it comes to discipline, did y'all like discipline? Do people that make it to overweight and obesity, do they is that a reflection of a lack of discipline? We don't have to say lazy. We could talk about laziness in a different stream. We can even talk about motivation in a different stream. But discipline, right? Like the sheer decision making and habit building and consistency. Do people that are overweight lack this trait? Do you feel like you lack this trait at that time in your life before you started losing weight? What is real sad, I've been on this treadmill. That town says, oh my gosh, what is real sad, I've been on this treadmill 35 minutes and only burned 147 calories. One latte and loaf is 900. Damn, I got 5 hours to go to burn it off. That's discipline. No, 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 no. See, I disagree. I disagree. Well, you know what? I'll let you have that. But I ain't doing that. Okay. I'm not doing that. What's discipline to me is I'm just going to take the L on that 900 calories. Like if I make the choice to have it, right? Because I track my food. So if I have 1,500 calories for the day, and I make the choice to get 900 of it from that latte and that lemon loaf, the discipline part of me, I would agree, still needs to go to the gym, but I'm going to make sure that I don't make it to 2,000 calories for the rest of the day. Like, okay, you chose 900 calories from a lemon loaf and a coffee. You better figure it out for the rest because you only got about 600 calories left in a day. Figure it out. That's how my discipline plays out. But go ahead and stay on that treadmill. You know what? Instead of staying on that treadmill for 5 hours, you better pump some iron. That'll get them calories going. That'll get them calories burnt up. Honestly, I'm at a point where I don't care or want to explain anything as it relates to my weight loss journey. If I had cancer or something else that was devastating, willpower or discipline, I'm grown. It's not necessarily about explaining. We're just, exploring and having a conversation. You really don't have to explain yourself. Actually, I'm asking y'all for perspective, right? Because I was really thinking about this and I'm just like, oh shit, it's a lie. Like it's a trap. If willpower is at the forefront of your mind when it comes to weight loss, you're damn near doomed without a GLP-1. If willpower is where you think the issue lies, you are doomed without a GLP-1 because your hormones will 100% of the time beat your willpower, except maybe 1% of the population or 1%. Like most people If you don't address those hormones and you're solely focused on willpower, you're doomed. You are doomed. That's how I feel. And that's how we ended up on GLP-1s in the first place. I mean, if I had a devastating disease, I would not have to explain anything or be judged, etc. I am grateful for the tool. Correct. Okay. Jen says yes. Okay, so Jen thinks that being overweight or obese is is a reflection of a lack of self-discipline. Okay. No, not a lack of self-discipline, because now that my hormones are regulated with Tirzepatide, I have a ton of discipline. 100 pounds and 10 months of discipline. Nurse Michelle, now how you going? See, this is the debater in me. Now, Nurse Michelle. Okay, I'm just gonna say you ain't have your latte today. Okay, how you gonna say no, not a lack of discipline, because now that my hormones are regulated? We ain't talking about now that we got help. Wait a minute. Before we get there, okay? Before we get to the help part, let's go back in time before we had our GLP-1s and we struggled with our weight. Assuming you struggled with your weight, because some people getting on the GLP-1 is the first time they tried to lose weight in their life. Like they didn't go up and down or whatever. But if you were overweight, right, before you started on the GLP-1, whether it's yourself or just in general regarding the topic, do you think being overweight is a reflection of a lack of self-discipline? Both? You think it's a lack of self-discipline and willpower? Is that what you're saying, Paul? Okay. So y'all know I'm a devil's advocate, okay? I'm devil's advocate. I don't even think it's necessarily devil's advocate. Maybe it is, because I do think this is an unpopular opinion. I'm gonna say that okay, you struggle with your weight since 5. Okay. Uh do you think that was due to a lack of discipline? Like do you think, so as an adult, because children, children don't have a choice. But as an adult, right? When people are overweight, does a lack of discipline have anything to do with that, do you think? And not enough knowledge about what was healthy. Okay. I love the discussion that was not directed towards you. Oh my God, Sunshine, I'm sensitive. Oh my gosh, leave me alone. It's in general state of mind I've developed. Tired of people saying folks are cheating or taking the easy route. Listen, why is easy supposed to be sidebar? Like, I don't understand. How is easy an insult? Like, what is wrong with people? People that say, like Monet. My cousin must be thinking about me. Like Monique, when she says, uh, take this shot, take that pill, lose this and lose that. And I asked the question, okay, but what if it works? like, like, why is that a bad thing? Like, what is wrong with people? If you take a shot and you lose 30% of your body weight, why is that a bad thing? We know we got to do other stuff. We got to eat right. We got to exercise. We got to drink water. We know that, right? But for people on the outside looking in that think it's a cheat code, what is wrong with a easier or simpler or more efficient path? What is wrong with that? What is wrong with people? So when people say, "Oh, it's cheating or it's the easy route," my response to that is, and my response used to be, "No, it's not. You got to do this, you got to do that, you got to do this, you got to do that." But it's like, they're not going to care. They're not going to care. They still going to feel that way anyway. So you may as well cut it short and say, "Okay, and like, is that a stain on my character because I'm taking a more efficient route that you consider easy? Like, why does that make me the wrong one here? Why does that make me the bad guy? Because science and medicine made this thing that people have struggled with forever, not forever, because we went back. Oh God, I'm so glad I did that stream regarding like the American diet and obesity rates from like the early 1900s. So not forever, but like in the past 50, 60 years. Why is it bad? And why are people being judged because science and medicine has made this just a tad bit easier for some of us? I'm gonna start calling people names. Like, I'm gonna start calling some of these people slow, like, because they're not making the leap, right? Why is easy an insult? Why is better an insult? Why is quicker, faster, simpler? Why is that an insult? I don't understand. Motivated at 8 a.m. for a diet by noon. I'm eating nachos and cheese. Oh, I have nacho. I have tortilla chips and I have queso blanco and I like to add chicken and it's bussin'. Exactly what's wrong with making it easier. Somebody gonna have to explain it to me. If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. I don't necessarily have a cheater mindset in life, but it's like with one of the biggest struggles across the country, if you ain't cheating, you ain't doing it right. See, that sounds very toxic, right? Because I don't think everybody should be on a GLP-1. I think people that can afford them and people who they work for, like if it works for you, then go for it. If it makes sense in the risk of reward, depending on your circumstances and whatever issues you may have, if it works for you, go for it. If it works for you, go for it. Like, I am not ashamed to say weight loss is mother effing hard. Fasting is mother effing hard and it's annoying. Cutting calories and exercise is mother effing hard. It is hard. Being on a GLP-1 makes that just a bit easier. And I am okay with that. Like, I don't want to do it the other way. I have no desire to do it the other way. I have been successful with fasting time and time again. But you know why it never sticks? Because I don't keep doing it. I don't keep doing it. I don't continue it in order to maintain the loss. So it's like I love fasting. I think fasting is superior is a superior method than GLP-1s, but GLP-1s are easier. Like what is the problem? And there are other things, right? There are other things like dealing with inflammation and there GLP-1s and fasting I don't think need to be pitted against each other or GLP-1s and bariatric surgery I don't think need to be pitted against each other, but like what's wrong with easier? Y'all little y'all who like y'all must love to struggle. I don't understand. I don't listen to them. I'm private anyway, so I don't discuss my usage. However, why wouldn't I use it if it works? Men use Viagra because it works. Without it, rich auntie, stop that. Okay. Okay. Rich auntie says without it, limp noodles. Stop that, rich auntie. Oh my god. Y'all are the worst, okay? I honestly that was a segue and I completely forgot what I was talking about. So okay, so I was asking is being overweight a reflection of a lack of discipline. Okay, so here's my answer. Now that y'all gave y'all answers, which was mixed. Jen was one that said yes. I'm gonna say yes. Please don't get me. Please don't start yelling to me about hormones because I know. And I know y'all. So I know the first thing three of y'all gonna say. I don't know which three, but it's gonna be at least three comments like, but the hormones, V. The hormones. That's why we're on GLP-1s, V. I'm like, calm down. I know. Calm down. I know. Okay, relax. Don't start yelling at me about hormones, okay? We just went through all of that, okay? I know. I am aware and I am not downplaying it, okay? However, okay. However, I'm gonna pull your big back cards. I'm gonna do it because I'm still a big bag. Y'all be letting these clavicles fool you, okay? I'm still a big bag, okay? I ate half a pack of shareable Vienna fingers a couple days ago. Like to the point where I was feeling sick. Like that was just being greedy, okay? Like I was just being very, very greedy, but it was like day 6. So here's the thing. I do believe, okay? I know it is difficult because we are so judged for being overweight. And obese people and overweight people are looked at as flawed, like morally flawed. If you're religious, right? Looked at as like gluttony and sloth, right? You eat too much and you're lazy. Obese people, obesity is one of those ailments, those metabolic issues or diseases, if you want to call it that. It's one of those conditions that gets judged first and evaluated second. Is that fair? You get judged first, right? On your character based on the size of your body before it is ever considered what might be going on with you mentally, emotionally, or physiologically, metabolically, right? So I understand why it would be offensive to hear that if you are obese that in some way, shape, or form, that is a reflection of a lack of discipline. It's like, no, that's not true. Like there's the hormones and there's the this and it's the food supply and there's the that and it's the sugar and it's the this and it's the that and some people at a certain size can't exercise and like there's this and there's that and there's EDs and all of those things are 100% valid. But you know what also is valid? Accountability and discipline. And I believe that for me, as I was reflecting on what life was like before a GLP-1 and since being on a GLP-1, certain decisions that I have made have been because I have not put the work into disciplining myself to make a different decision. Willpower exists, willpower is necessary, willpower works in the short term to a certain extent, right? So we've addressed willpower. It's not going to work in the long term, right? And you will fatigue if you keep trying to initiate it. So once you've utilized your willpower and you've escaped the moment, your discipline got to kick in to get you the rest of the way. So I feel there is no way that if there's no way I make it to 242 pounds if like without any medical conditions, right? So like I don't have like hyperthyroidism or some sort of medical condition that would get me there, right? This is sheer eating, right? This is sheer eating. So for me, I feel that the eating portion and the lack of activity portion, which both were true for me, that led me to 242 pounds, and the not weighing myself and the not keeping up with my labs or whatever decision I was making. The decisions that I made that got me to 242 pounds, in addition to the hormones, in addition to the emotions, in addition to whatever else, were a reflection of a lack of discipline. So, for example, I know I'm supposed to be working out. I mean, in hindsight, right? Like, I know I'm supposed to be working out. I even know I'm supposed to be weight training, especially on a GLP-1. Did I always do it? No. Am I supposed to be perfect about it? No. But did I have a routine that allowed me to set myself up for success? No. Did I pick and choose in the moment based on how I feel? Yes. Picking and choosing in the moment based on how you feel is a sign of a lack of discipline, okay? When it comes to eating, choosing to not set myself up for success as far as like eating out. So repeatedly choosing the worst possible options, because I'm not against eating out. I just think you should enjoy your food. It should be good. It should be worth the money. I think a lot of people eat out on autopilot and aren't even enjoying their food, especially fast food. But if it's good, I'm all for it. Like if you find a really good Big Mac, I'm all for you having the Big Mac, right? Because if it's a good slice of pizza, I'm gonna have it. So, but not like, so choosing to eat out 4, 5, sometimes 7 days a week is a lack of discipline. Overcooking, right? Like eating out 7 days a week or 5 days a week, overcooking, to me, that reflects a lack of discipline. So we have activity, we have the eating out. Knowing that I have a addiction to sugar, but still choosing to have my triggers in close proximity so that I have to constantly like rely on willpower, right? So if I have boxes of cereal, Oreos in the cabinet, juice in the fridge or soda, candy in the cabinet, whatever, right? I got 4, 5, 6, 7 different options for sugar around. So the only thing stopping me from going in that fridge or going in that cabinet is the willpower because it's within proximity. It never dawned on me. Well, not never, right? This happened over time. But like in the moment, it wasn't dawning on me like you gotta build up the discipline to not even one have those foods around in the beginning or at all. Or like let me tell you this. I always felt like, because this is what I was told. Moderation, right? When people say moderation, I think what they really mean is, improve your relationship with food. They do mean eat less, right? Because when people say you can eat whatever you want, just eat less of it, they don't understand EDs. They don't understand eating, EDs. They don't understand emotional eating, stress eating. They don't understand those things. So they just say, you can eat it, just eat less of it. That's what I do, right? That's what they say. So I was always convinced that like I would flip in and out of know what, just don't have it around. Then it's like, well, you can't just fully restrict. So yeah, have it around, but learn to resist. Okay. So I'm fighting with like the idea that I have to figure out how to have these foods around because I know I want them. And if I keep trying to have the will to not have them, I'm going to fold and I'm going to crash and burn. So it's like, okay, so bring them around, but don't give in all the time. That's the willpower. It's a failure. Even up until this point in my journey, 80 pounds down on a GLP-1, still, it's a failure. It is a failure. Okay. Not completely. Like there are times where it's like last night, I didn't have a Kit Kat at 12 o'clock at night. So it it never really like dawned on me that I just don't have the routines in place. I just don't have the discipline to, and I haven't had the discipline to consistently make the decisions that are going to get me the outcome that I am looking for. Okay. And GLP-1s have been a crutch to developing that discipline. Like it hasn't, GLP-1s have kind of buffered, my need to build that discipline because I was getting success anyway. All right. I see y'all saying goodnight to Shot Town. So let me go ahead and get caught up on the comments. Good night, Shot Town, but I didn't read your message yet. So I'm gonna go through and read your message. But good night and thank you for joining us. Okay. Um, any update on your microphone story? I missed the beginning. No, they're investigating. So no updates yet. But I did no police report yet either because I live in a small town and the police station ain't open until Friday. So no update yet. Chi-town, that Kit Kat bar is 247 calories. Either share it or toss it out. See, why you gonna say that then leave, Chi-town? Why? Okay, so here's the thing. Y'all not hearing me. Y'all are brainwashed, okay? And I get it because I am too. I am too. But this is my way of working myself out of this, right? This is my theory, okay? So Kit Kat bar, right? You're actually wrong. The whole bar is 420 calories, right? But because it's here, you assume I'm gonna eat the whole bar, even though I just finished saying I've been eating this since yesterday and probably won't finish it till tomorrow, right? So because we're so focused on willpower, we automatically assume that if it's in front of you, you're gonna finish the whole thing or fight with yourself about finishing the whole thing. I just finished explaining. I ain't fighting with myself about this Kit Kat bar. Now I will fight about myself about some Oreos, but this I'm not fighting with myself about, right? I have to know my triggers. So with this bar being 420 calories, I have a decision to make. Before I even purchase this, I have a decision to make. I either sit there and eat the whole bar, 420 calories. I could not buy it, right? I could not buy it, or I can have it in a reasonable way that works out for me. So 400 calories split up over 3 days, that's less than that's what, about like 150 or something like that. So context matters. And thank you, Shot Town, for the comment. Context matters. I don't think that we have to be so harsh about, well, not that you're being harsh to me, but when I say like to ourselves, right? Because this is probably how Shy Town would respond to having a Kit Kat or something. It's 247 calories. It's really 420. Share it or toss it out. Why? Why? Technically, this is 400 calories. Now, this I'm going to finish. I'm going to put it in my app and I'm going to finish it. That's why I try to have it just once a week until other people start buying it. And then see, because I'm not this. So for example, right? This coffee, right? That Jim be getting on me about, I reduced it to once a week, right? For my own spending and, habit or whatever. But if other people buy it, I will still indulge. That is a lack of discipline to me because I have not committed to myself. Because I think discipline is also commitment. I haven't committed to the one per week. I've only committed to me buying one per week. I created my own loophole. So if Teddy send me $5, I'm gonna be like, ooh, that means I get to get a coffee. But no, like discipline would be no, you've had your one for the week. You can buy a $5 Teddy D coffee next week. That to me would be discipline. You've already had a 400-calorie coffee or 300-calorie coffee this week. No, okay? You can buy it next week, okay? It discipline also has to do with commitment. So, about the Kit Kat, I'm not stressing about it. I probably will finish it tomorrow. I am not going to throw it away, even though I will throw snacks away, and y'all, the chat will get on me, or I'll throw food away. So I don't mind throwing stuff away. But I just thought it was an interesting. I thought it was an interesting point of view, like based on the calories, share it or throw it away. And it's like, it doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be black and white. Like it doesn't have to be. Now, what would have been easier is if the store that I went to had the smaller bars, right? Where it's just four in a pack. That would have been, easier. But I bought this because it's not a huge trigger for me. But it's still risky business because it is sugar. So thank you, Shottown, for the comment, but I'm not throwing it away or sharing it. I agree with the hormones with PCOS and perimenopause. Sidebar: I will be getting evaluated for screened for PCOS next month because I was concerned about my acne. Now I'm getting it under control, but I still will be screened for PCOS. Maybe I should be screened for fibroids too. But anyway, I could have been disciplined and stayed keto, eat only 1,000 calories, walked and lift, etc. But GLP helped me. I think that's wonderful. Honestly, if most people using GLP ones were given a chance to speak, we would say we are eating well and working out. Nothing worked. There was something more there, and GLP was the solution. Okay. So where does the responsibility fall on our eating decisions? Okay, 1 hour on treadmill, 295 calories burned. You better go ahead. Time to shower and Netflix. You guys have a peaceful evening. P.S. Viagra burns calories. Wink, wink. Thank you, Chi-Town. So, uh, okay. So back to the point of being overweight to some extent, right? It's not 100% of the story. We know that hormones is about 80% of the story. But decision making is a part of the story too. Decision making is a part of the story too. Now, when we're talking about impulsive decisions, yes, we know that's a battle with willpower, right? That's where the willpower is going to kick in. But like, would anybody, I'm inviting pushback. Is there anyone that would suggest that personal accountability has no place in weight gain? Is there anybody that would suggest that? Let me know. I used to truly enjoy Kit Kat bars. That's not on my fave list anymore because I only eat dark chocolate candies. I I took this. All right, so I ate the first piece, right? Because I did say it was a prop for the stream. So I ate a piece, and then I took the second piece, and I couldn't even finish it. Look what I did, and I just put it down. I couldn't even eat it. Like it's literally just sitting here. Actually, let me put it back in the pack. I shouldn't have put it on my I shouldn't have put it on top of my my coffee, but whatever. I couldn't even finish it. Like it, but let it have been some cookies though. I know my triggers. I know my triggers. Okay. I buy the mini size pieces. I have tried that with I think it was Snickers, maybe Twix, but then I'll just eat more of them. So that doesn't really work for me. It depends on what the candy is, right? So I can't go to the store and buy like Starburst because I will so that point about the 200 and something calories, share it or throw it away. I can't if I get a whole pack of Starburst, I'm eating the whole entire pack in one sitting. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. I'm eating the whole pack. So I just won't buy it, right? Like I won't buy it. Gummy bears, those types of candies, chewy, sweet gummy candies. I just don't buy them because I can't moderate them. Now, if somebody else has it and they want to share with me, that's fine. Like I can take that. Even that's a little slippery slope, but I can handle that. But like chocolate is not a huge trigger for me. Jim was getting on me because I said I gave up candy, but I still eat chocolate. And she's like, since when is chocolate not candy? And I'm like, I'm a little bit touched by an angel, right? Like I just never really saw chocolate as candy, even though it will say chocolate candy. I, I love chocolate. I'm more of a chocolate cake kind of person though. Chocolate cookies, but chocolate bars and what is Kit Kat categorized as? Does it say? Chocolate bars, chocolate wafers, wafers and milk chocolate. Chocolate bars aren't really a big deal for me. I would rarely eat them. Like I bought a bag of Ghirardelli sea salt and chocolate, dark chocolate, sea salt and caramel dark chocolate squares. It's been sitting in my fridge for probably a month. If I really, really get a craving, I'll probably have one out of the bag and then won't have another one till like the following month. Um, yeah, I love Ghirardelli. I really do. But I don't it's not something I can overindulge in. Like it's especially dark chocolate. Like I love it, but I wouldn't sit there and eat 4 or 5 pieces. I don't care that much. But a Kit Kat, so if I had a bag of minis, I would compensate by just eating more. So I'd have like 2 or 3 or 4 mini Snickers or Twix or something like that. So it's better for me to just have the bar or whatever. It's the only chocolate I allow in my house and buy. Okay. Okay, one last comment. Why have the Kit Kat at all? Whether you eat the whole bar or over 3 days, it's still 400 wasted calories. No protein, no fiber, no eating it. It means 400 calories. You're ahead. Oh, because I don't care like that. That's why. Like I've tried fully restricting sugar. It doesn't work for me. So I don't care like that. Like I don't mind having things that I like. So your argument is don't eat empty calories. I don't have a problem with people feeling that way. I just don't feel that way. I'm going to eat what I like. Like I have tried restricting all of the things that I like. It is a very boring life, okay? Do I feel like we should revolve our life around food and junk food and snacks and sugar? No. Do I think it is the end of the world to enjoy pointless junk? No, I don't. I just don't think it's the end of the world. Is it dangerous to overindulge? Yes. And I'm not so calorie focused that I'm like, does this 400 calories fit into my week? I don't think like that. For example, the calories on a treadmill. There's no way, no way I'm getting on a treadmill and counting calories. But I understand that some people do that. Like just like like I track my food. Some people are not into tracking. They never track. They don't have to track. They don't care about tracking. They ain't about to do none of that. I am not getting on no I'm not counting no calories at the gym. I'm not doing that. Like I'm not doing that. I will track what I'm eating and what I'm drinking and that is the end of it. Whatever happens in the gym just happens. Like I'm not counting that. I'm not staying on no treadmill until it hit 500 calories or 300 calories. I ain't doing that. But different things work for different people. So for me personally, I don't look at my calorie allotment for the week and say, okay, this 400 is going to be a waste or that 200 is going to be a waste. No, 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 no. That's not how I think. That's not how I think. I'm not that invested in the calories. I'm not. Calories is like a top level view for me. It's helpful as a guide, but I'm not married to it. Hi Andrew, I'm here. I'm clocking in my bed. I just got home. I got my hair cut, then went to my sister, and then we left. Shout out to Andrew and your sister. Thank you for joining us. Damn it, now I want a Kit Kat. Let me increase my willpower and go to bed. You know what? That see, I don't want them problems. I don't want them you know, damn, you know what? Now I want one. I'm finding the balance between I want that and just having it, and then I want that like the lemon loaf, right? I don't have the lemon loaf because of the amount of calories in it. Like I don't think about the lemon loaf as badly as I want it. I don't think about it as in it's just not worth the calories. I think about it as one lemon loaf is going to turn into a lemon loaf every day for the next 2 months. Every time I get a coffee, like that's what that's going to turn into for me. So just don't even bother. Like that would be the example of share it or throw it out. Like if I know I'm going to struggle with it, my best bet would be to either one not have it or share it with someone if I do really want it. So if I had someone in the car with me that was willing to split it, then I can do that. But for things that I don't struggle with, that might be empty calories. I think it's fine. Like it's fine. Um, Now, I would rather spend most of the week not having the Kit Kat though, or the cookies or the chips. Like I would rather just in general live my life with as little junk food as possible. But I was in the store. I wanted a Kit Kat, so I got it. I wanted it, so I got it. um, I am definitely team eat whatever I really want, but in moderation. Don't want to live life restricting everything I enjoy. Yeah, I can't eat everything I want. I can't eat everything I want. I can eat most things that I want. Okay, I have very specific triggers. So, for example, and some of my triggers have reduced, like, or gone away since being on Zepbound. Like, the one of the most annoying ones is French fries. I used to be a French fry addict, and since being on Zepbound, I don't enjoy them as much, and I find that to be very annoying because it's like losing my bestie. It's really like losing my bestie. Like, I want french fries. So for, let's say, 16 out of the 18 months, I continue to eat french fries trying to revive that enjoyment, and I just couldn't do it. I finally gave up. So now I will have them on occasion, right? But I had to let that relationship go, and it was very hard. It was very sad. I had to let my french fry relationship go. At the beginning of the year, I had to let my fast food relationship go. Not because I'm anti fast food. We talked about we had the stream about eating, and I'm like, well, what are your guilty pleasures as far as food? Somebody mentioned a Whopper. Somebody mentioned some sort of like dessert or pastries. Like, people mention different things. Mine is pizza. Okay. And I came to the conclusion because I knew I needed to stop eating out as much. So my conclusion was, I'm willing to eat out, but I will limit the number of days, and I'm gonna restrict my eating out to food I actually enjoy. Okay. I don't enjoy McDonald's. Sometimes I eat it impulsively because I'm in an environment that's familiar where I used to eat McDonald's, or I'm stopping to get a coffee and I just want something to go with it, like a French fry or something. Like old habits start to come to the surface when I'm at McDonald's. But do I enjoy McDonald's food? No. So I just made a commitment with myself. If I'm gonna eat out, I'm gonna eat food that I like. If I'm gonna buy it, it's gonna be food that I like. That's how I feel about that. Um, are you still doing your contouring sessions, Vanity? No, I did all four, and I did not update y'all because I'm a piece of shit. Like, even the video is still incomplete in CapCut because I didn't take the progress photos. And I had what did I have? I had I'm so bad, Sydney. I'm so bad. Like, I was supposed to show y'all progress photos after the first 2 weeks. Even though I did 4 weeks, I was supposed to show y'all the 2 week mark and then the 4 week mark. And now we're beyond that, and I still haven't shown the photos. Okay, I do have one. But it's not the best picture. Okay, like, it's not the best picture. So no, I'm not still doing it. I completed all of my sessions. I was very happy with my results. I think I ended up losing, like, I didn't measure. I should have measured, but like, I think I might have ended up losing, it feels like roughly half an inch off my midsection. That's what it feels like. Um, but I really need to show y'all a progress photo. Like, I have to do it. It's just I'm being incredibly lazy about it. And as far as, like, I was supposed to do my size 10 try on today. I was supposed to go to the gym. Back to discipline. So because I was tired today, I didn't do anything I was supposed to do. There's a fine line between, like absolute discipline, and then, like, having your priorities in order. So I'm trying to figure out the balance, right? Because I feel like if I was disciplined, I would have went to the gym anyway. I would have accomplished what I wanted to accomplish anyway, but I'm not committed the way that I should be committed, right? Um I will decide in a moment, you know what? I just don't feel like it. Whose team? I just don't feel like it. Or do y'all stick to y'all routines? Cuz I'll back out in a minute. I'll back out in a minute. Yeah, if I had to stop eating Chinese restaurant, it would be less my bestie. I would never I never let my bestie go. Listen, yeah, I had to let my bestie go, like French fries. Like, I had to let it go. But you know what? I had some French fries yesterday. I couldn't finish it though. I couldn't finish it, and it was okay. I threw it away. I didn't have anybody to share it with, so I had to toss it. I'm doing cavitation and red light to my legs right now. Like, Like you're doing it yourself or you're having someone else do it. Um, we'll talk about that on another stream because I don't want to segue too completely. But I would like to know how that's working out for you. I love me some cavitation. Red light therapy. I prefer radio frequency. I prefer radio frequency for skin tightening, but because red light therapy takes longer to see results, and I'm impatient. I want to see the results by day 7. Like cavitation, you could see results the same day. Mesotherapy, the fat dissolve injections, you'll see that by the end of the week. Um, Radio frequency takes, a couple of weeks, but for me, because my skin isn't that saggy or loose, I can see results in like a week or two. So I get results pretty quickly. Mm. But red light therapy is always a nice addition. Okay. Sydney. Oh, you know what else it was? It was the constipation. I didn't want to distort the photos. Sydney. I got snatched. Sydney, I got snatched. I did. Oh my god. Now that's cheating, okay? That is 100% cheating. Like it's pure and utter complete tomfoolery vanity. It is complete vanity, okay? To get some fat dissolve injections and do some cavitation and just bring it in to just bring it all in. Complete and utter tomfoolery. Like it has nothing to do with weight loss. Completely surrounded, like it's completely about reducing inches or centimeters or whatever and smoothing out the skin, and the results are so fast. Like they are quick. They are quick fast. But it's better if you're closer to your goal weight so you don't have as much work to do, except radio frequency that should be done along the way so you don't have, because you can't really reverse a lot once the skin is already loose. But if you try to tackle it along the way, then you're better off. All right, so where do we go from here? Okay, we are 3 hours in because I talk too goddamn much. All right, I talk way too much, and y'all talk too much because I be sitting here reading y'all comments. I got something for that ass next week when we talk to Dave. I got something for y'all because we're gonna be making some changes. Y'all not gonna keeping me on these streams for 3 or 4 hours, okay? All right, so where do we go from here? Now that we've discussed willpower and discipline, I don't think willpower, I might have come off like I was demeaning or saying willpower is a bad thing. I don't think that it is. I think it is a necessity. I think that we overvalue it though, especially when it comes to weight loss. I think the focus should be more on discipline so that we have more sustainable changes in routines that we are developing. That's how I feel about that. So, with that being said, what is Vanity going to be doing moving forward? Okay. What is Vanity going to be doing moving forward? Okay. I just gifted 5 memberships because it is the end of the month. And going into March, I will have another 10 to gift, right? So I didn't want to leave February without gifting all of the memberships. So shout out to anyone that just became a member. I see Rhonda, Tammy, Afe, a family. Is that what that says? I see Robbie. Okay, I'll say Robbie. I see Dirty Bob Bojangles and Raw Truth Uncut. So sorry, Dirty Bob's name just completely distracted me because I was talking about eating out. And Bojangles is a restaurant. So I was gonna say something relative to that, and then like I just drew a blank. Like we over here talking about my struggles with eating out, and here y'all go talking about some Bojangles. So shout out to everybody that was gifted a membership. I don't know if you are watching currently, but if you are, drop down in the chat and say hello. Okay. Guys, my dad is leaving me to go to Colombia, and I feel like I deserve to go. Vacuum suction on my machine too. Okay, you're doing it yourself. Okay. I'm looking forward to getting a machine and taking a class to learn how to use it, but I don't have it yet. It's a lymphatic drainage. system. So it will use vacuum, it will use suction to move fluid and fat to be I don't want to say ejected, but like drained through the lymphatic system. So you know how somebody could have like lipo and they need lymphatic drainage massages. Typically those are done by hand, but imagine like still wanting to do that um lymphatic drainage, but on a more intense level. I don't want to say intense, but like, it has a lot of suction. So always enjoy your chats. Okay, Nicole is still here. Drains the fat to lymph. Yes, correct. I never get any memberships. I'm sorry, Sunshine. Do you have accept memberships turned on? I know some people don't have them turned off, don't have them turned on because they don't want to get random channel memberships. Like I understand that. So uh you gotta make sure. I don't know how YouTube decides. My lip oil drop. I don't know how YouTube decides who gets them, but because I know, I believe you don't even have to be subscribed. So, but pouting. Well, we're gonna try again in March because I give out 10 every month to give people an opportunity to get caught up on any members only content that they may have missed and decide if they would like to continue on with the membership themselves. And we're gonna be making some changes so that the members can get um some priorities around this John. Okay. All right. So where was I? Okay, so moving forward, right? I feel like when I did some reading on willpower versus discipline, I figured out that willpower is okay, but that's not where my focus needs to be. And the constant flopping and failing is because I'm too focused on willpower in the short term and I need to just be disciplined, okay? Like I need to develop better habits and commit to them. I think the key to discipline is commitment. I think it is commitment, right? So if I have agreed to go to the gym and do my weight training and get a good pump 3 days a week, we like the no excuses concept over here sometimes, right? Because we're skinny talk lovers. We're skinny talk lovers. So we like the no excuses concept. But I think a more palatable way to say that is just committing to discipline. So if I agree to go to the gym 3 days a week, I should go to the gym 3 days a week. Okay. I need to set up my life so that that is possible, right? Because it's not unworkwittable. It's very annoying to drive 70 miles round trip to the gym. But if that's the commitment that I make, that's the commitment that I make. And I need to stick to that commitment. And if I can't stick to it, then I need to make a different commitment. Either way, I got to commit to something. I can't just be randomly, you know, deciding, oh, I'm going to go 1 day this week, 2 days that week, a day this week, 3 days this week. Like, if I want the best results and I want consistency, then I have to be consistent. Like I have to be disciplined about the commitment. I have to be disciplined about the consistency. As far as like a lack of discipline playing a role into me gaining weight in the first place, I know that's a sensitive subject, but I just feel like if it's not that, then what? Like where does the self accountability come in regarding the decisions that we made that led us to, you know, uh the weights that we ultimately got up to. So it's not necessarily a victim blaming or a self blame. It's just the realization that, like, I was so the lazy word, right? Somebody mentioned it earlier. It was mentioned in the skinny talk. No, I definitely was lazy. I don't know who else is willing to admit that, but that was definitely lazy. Now, was it hard to work out at 240 pounds? Yes. Did I try sometimes? Yes. Right. Was I committed? No. I was 100. I was 90%. I won't say 100%. I was definitely lazy. Eating out 6, 7 days a week instead of cooking. That was a lack of discipline, and that was definitely very lazy. It just was choosing to eat out over cooking. Hmm. I would even say not doing the one thing that worked for me several times before that I knew for a fact was going to work, fasting. I knew fasting would work for me because it worked before. The only reason it would ever stop fasting would work and I would not regain weight until like one time I kept weight off for 2 years because I was consistent. One then the pandemic hit. But once I stopped being consistent, I lost my results. Like you don't stay consistent, you reverse your work. You know what I mean? So when I made it up to I spent a few years bouncing back and forth between fasting and losing weight and then stop fasting and regaining it, fasting and losing weight and then stop fasting and regaining it. And then the very last time when I gained the most weight, I didn't go back to the fasting because I didn't feel like it. I knew it was gonna work. I kept delaying. Like it's almost like knowing you have an answer. So it don't really matter how long you wait because you can always go back to that thing that you know is gonna work, right? I'll always get back on track. Like I'll get back on track. I could wait a little longer. Fasting is annoying. I don't feel like it. I don't feel like doing that. I don't feel like committing to that. It's hard. It's difficult. I don't feel like starting over. I don't feel like struggling. You know. So the one thing that I knew would work for me, I completely ignored because I was lazy and I was unmotivated and I was uninterested. Not that I didn't want change. It wasn't that. It wasn't that I didn't have enough willpower because that would have ultimately flopped anyway if that was all I relied on. I just didn't commit. Me personally. Me personally, okay? So if that's not your reality, then you would have to tell me where the line is. Where do we think the line is for some level of accountability for how we gain the weight in the first place? Because we will take 100% credit for deciding to get on the GLP-1. How many people, I asked this question before, how many people had doctors that recommended a GLP-1 or you had to find out about a GLP-1 on your own and then take it to your doctor and say, "Hey, I want to do this." How many people had wonderful doctors that recommended a GLP-1 to them before they ever heard of a GLP-1? Y'all let me know. Without being a type 2 diabetic, because the diabetics would get recommended GLP-1. But how many of y'all got recommended a GLP-1 for weight loss before you ever heard of a GLP-1? Like you didn't even know what it was and your doctor was like, "Well, I know you're having this issue with your weight and I know you have this hormonal issue. I think Manjaro is going to work for you. I think Ozempic is going to work for you." How many people experience that? I'll wait.